Hello.
Hi, I took some notes, so I'm going to just try and read through them so I don't forget anything. My name is Deborah Fingston, and obviously my son was Andrew Ashcraft, part of the Granite Mountain Hotshots, and so I'm really interested in just discussing the property on 6th Street, Station 7. I understand that selling the property is, it's important. But it's also important to a lot of people within the community, not just the families, but to us. And I understand also being able to split the property. If you look at the property, it would be very easy to split. And as stated, you are able to do that. So it could really be split into 2 properties. So I'm more interested in the front half that contains the, that holds the station, Station 7 itself. Yes, it is commercial, so I understand the value of being in a commercial as opposed to just being out somewhere, even though my driveway is extremely steep, so I don't think really elevation matters. It's great for sledding when you're looking at other properties. But I want to ask for the opportunity for the families and those that care about Station 7 to maybe have some possible time. I just heard about this over the weekend, and I think it would be fantastic if you would give us some time to maybe look outside of the box and to see what we could use this property for, to restart bringing funding back into the community as that station used to do prior to the tragedy, that station could make the city money continually and not just in one sale. I would like to ask that you give us time to possibly look at working with the police department, the Prescott Fire Department, the Wildland Firefighter Guardian Institute, the Eric Marsh Foundation. Northern Arizona University has been working with the WFGI, the Wildland Firefighter Guardian Institute, to possibly bring in a school of wildland fire in the Prescott Valley area. Why not? Let's look at Prescott and maybe that location as a place to run it. To work with a state forester, because they are in desperate need of trained wildland firefighters, especially in incident command. Let's let Prescott be a positive provider of those that are needed. So working with the state forester, obviously working with Powwick would be interesting, and the Prescott Department of Fire Union. Let's reactivate that property and use it. And that way it can be an income source and not just a one-time sale. With that, we could bring in families, we could bring in people that would buy and help the sales tax, which we seem to live off of now. I'm just asking for time to let us pull a committee together to come and present to you some options that could be available at Station 7 and 6th Street. Possibly pull out some of the items that we have at 312 McCormick and bring it through. But I'm just asking for time, and I would also like to defer to Amanda Marsh on some other options and ideas we have. And so I just truly ask that this one parcel on 6th Street, that you give us some time to present.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Amanda Marsh, and I'm the widow of Eric Marsh, the superintendent of the Granite Mountain Hotshots. I don't mean to be emotional, but this is an emotional conversation for me, as it is for many people here representing not only people who care in the community, but also family members. And I wrote a letter that I don't need to read, but that I wanted to present to the mayor. Can I walk it up? We, as the families, have been working together all weekend to figure out something to do. And like Deborah Fingston was saying, we have many options and many ideas, and we would just like a little time to be able to see if we can bring any of those options into fruition. I don't know if that's possible for 6th and Easy Street. The other thing that I wanted to talk about were the buggies, and I know that that wasn't on your agenda today, but we have 2 options for the buggies to be donated to two different fire museums. one in Los Angeles County and one in Phoenix. And we would really appreciate the opportunity to move these to safe locations. So I hope that we can work together to figure out a way to make this transition something that the families can be part of. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chief Light, I guess you heard about the buggies?
Yes.
Yes, sir, I have, and they've approached me, and that is most certainly doable if that is the policy direction. The intrinsic value of that, I think, last time, without going into a lot of finite details, for them combined is really kind of minuscule. There would be a return of perhaps up to $12,000 combined, I think is the last number that the fleet folks gave to us. But it's most certainly doable, and as a resource for us, they've come past their need here in our community for fire services, and I would support such a decision if that is policy direction.
Okay, thank you. City manager, I guess it's going to take some time to work through this packet and decide on what we want to sell and how we want to sell it, and whether or not we're going to put it out for a bid for sale. So what time do you think that's going to take, and would give them an opportunity to put a committee together and come back in and talk to us?
I think practically, if I've understood the wishes of this council, moving in a somewhat expeditious manner is what we're looking to do. I would define that as maybe a month or two. Does that sound realistic?
Well, it takes, I know this, to split something, regardless of your entity, you're splitting a lot of consolidating. I mean, a lot of times you've got to do an ALTA survey, you've got to bring in engineering, you know, we got to do the RFP for engineering and to get those folks to split the lot. Splitting them is probably 2 months. You know, all those things we were talking about.
So maybe more like.
But I think as long as we're showing intent to the public of what we're doing, then I see no rush in making a decision right now on that particular parcel right now.
And Mayor and Council, remember, that, you know, whatever the policy decision is, you always have the ability to lease property as a revenue stream to the general fund, as they said, you know, as a revenue stream versus a one-time sale of property. And you kind of base your lease rates on what your cap rate is, what you return to. So if you had a property you were going to sell for $1 million, if you got $100,000 a year, in 10 years you basically get your money out of it. If you have a 20-year lease, you're actually making more money over the long term. So that, and leases actually are the really flexible way for the city to dispose of unnecessary property and have a revenue stream. So that's always an option in this conveying of surplus properties discussion is, you know, or long-term, you know, especially on commercial properties that have some return on investment. So that's something to probably consider during the exec session. You know, what are the options? Do we want to sell it, one-time deal, or do we want to see if we can lease it as a revenue stream?
And probably going parcel by parcel to make those determinations is the best way to do this.
So how long do you think it'll take to put together your committee and come up with ideas?
Once you light a fire under us, we're going to move mountains to make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
As long as you give permission to your fire department and police department to talk to us at any time. NAU is already willing to talk. The president of NAU is ready to come down. State Forester Jeff Whitney is ready to come down. So as long as we can set up a place and meet at Station 7, we'll do it.
You're more than welcome to meet with both the fire and the police. And good luck with it all.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Brandon McDonough, resident Prescott. Regarding the buggies, so from what I understand, that's going to be an administrative decision. I think that's something, from my understanding, they're valued at $12,000, correct, Chief Light?
Actually, it sounds like it's going to be a council
Okay,
decision because
council
it's
decision.
more than $3,000 per buggy.
Okay, so how can we help on our end, maybe speed that process up so it's off your plate? Is there anything we can do from our end to
Well,
make sure that
if there's museums that are interested in these resources and you guys want to draft some correspondence, and I don't know what the correspondence that was given to the mayor, but it said what the plan was or what your plan was with these, at least it can be considered by the city council.
Okay.
Sound reasonable to everybody?
Good to see you, Brendan.
Likewise, thank you.
Mayor, I'll chime in as well. I think I can work with the parties that are interested in this particular approach and then perhaps bring something back for you all to consider.